It's just Platinum, baby. I'm going into the studio, and this is typically what it looks like when I go in the studio. I normally, first thing I do, well, it's not on right now, but I normally just turn this off because it's normally on because I hate dust. So whenever I leave the studio, I turn my little dusters on. So I have a window, and for almost 15 years, I worked in a room with no window. So that's the reason why I have a window. So I'll come in, I'll turn off my little air purifier. I got one over here. I turn that off. Then I got one over here. I got them all over the room. And I get these at Goodwill, just in case you don't know. You guys be sleeping on Goodwill. I keep my desk covered up because I don't like dust. But the dust is under control because I do have the filters. All right, so I'll come in. Sorry about that. Had to cough. I'll come in. I'll have a seat, and then I'll start turning on my lights. So I got a little switch right here. I turn the light on. And down here, I got a little foot switch that I hit that light. But I'm only turning that light on because I'm doing the video. Typically, I don't have that on. The room kind of look like this. And I also have over here on this back wall, I can turn on I got some lights up here that I can turn on. I can get to come on. Okay, there we go. And you can change the colors to whatever color you like, whatever mood you're in, you can change it. All right, so moving right along, gonna sit back down. I have my camera in here for when I'm making my YouTube videos. It's a Sony EV something, ZV10, E10, something like that. It's a Sony. I bought that because, well, you know, try to get a nice little camera. So all my switches for my gear is down here behind this sheet. There's a sheet down there. This is kind of tight up. I'm big on not having a lot of junk everywhere. So, I mean, I like stuff that look kind of neat. So down here I have my switches. All right, the first switch is this. That turns on my converters and my speaker system. Now, I know some of y'all heard that pop and stuff, but that's the sub. I don't really care about, it's just that little $5 sub I got from Goodwill down there. But I do have, under there, I have the oh, you can't see it, but I have the big Yamaha sub. I got the big Yamaha sub, but I used to have my NS5s hooked up to the big sub. So now I got the Genelex hooked up to the sub. Anyway, I'll turn that switch on. That turns on my SSL X desks. Then I'll go over here. Let me unplug this so I don't knock it over. I'll go over here and I will turn on the computer. And it's an M1. And it's on. It must have been on already. All right. I like to turn that off. If I'm not gonna be in here for a couple of days, I'll turn it off. All right, so I'm gonna get some light in here just so you guys can see. So now I'll log into my computer. Log into my computer. Then the next thing I'm gonna do, if I'm about to do a session, I'll start turning everything on, warming stuff up. Because with tubes and stuff, you gotta warm it up. So the first thing I do is I come down here and I just hit the switches. Boom, 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 boom. And then I hit that switch. That'll turn that stuff on. Then over here, I got a plug right there that I can hit the switch. And that turns that stuff on. I got a lot of plug switches. So then I'll go through and start turning all my gear on. None. Now, sometimes the stuff already be on. I like to power down with the stuff on so I don't have to keep hitting the switches. I never had any problems with switches not working, but I'm assuming over time, if you keep turning stuff off and on, off and on, off and on, you know, eventually you're gonna wear down that switch. So I like to just turn the power off and leave the power switch on. So when I turn it on, I ain't gotta keep hitting that switch. So then I'll go through, turn on that, turn that on. It's my 1073, and then I turn on the alpha channels. So now, everything over there is on, everything over here is on, everything over here is on. I always mute this out of habit whenever I turn on my converters, because I don't want it to pop. Now, normally what you would do is you would turn your converters and stuff on first before you turn your speakers on. The speakers are the last thing you turn on when you turn it on your gear, the speakers. But I got mine on a monster switch that automatically does that for me. Now here it's called the, what's it, Pro 3500. It'll automatically shut down the speakers first, then turn everything else off. And when it comes on, it'll turn everything on, and then turn the speakers on. I'm kind of fumbling up. So then I turn on my spectrum analyzer. My burl is already on because I don't turn that off. I leave that switched on. That's on. Everything is on. Okay. So the next thing I'll do is I'll go over here and I'll power this side on. I like a little switch I got from Goodwill. See right there, Goodwill. I'm a boy, y'all. Boy, I love Goodwill, boy. Y'all be sleeping on Goodwill. You can buy. Look, even over there, you can see a tag over there. I got that. I got that for $50 at Goodwill or Pawn Shop, one or two. Let me see. Oh, check this out. This right here, I found this at Goodwill the other day. Look at that, Goodwill. $5, a 1 terabyte drive. 1 terabyte Lexi drive. It was sitting under some stuff, and I found it. And it works. Nothing was on it. 1 terabyte, $5. Man, don't sleep on the pawn shop, but that's not what this is about. All right, so now I can just hit the switch up here. That'll turn on my pull text and my other gear. And then I got another switch right down here. I'll flash the light over there. You see it right there? I just hit the switch. And then that'll turn all my other gear on. Like I said, I don't know why this is off. It's normally just on. And I always just turn it off with the power switch. I don't know why it's doing that today, but it is what it is. So this is on, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, you can see that's on. This is, I don't know why that's not on, but anyway. Then I turn on that. And then I always leave that off. I don't always have on my Apollo. And then the big bin I don't turn on because I don't use the big bin. It's not hooked up. And the PSX 100, which is the Apple G converter down there, I don't use that either. So all that gear is on. Oh, forgot one last thing. Gotta turn on my Eventide. All right, so now I go over here. I check everything to make sure everything is working. And all my lights are on, everything is queued up. And right before I open up Pro Tools, I'll turn on the Station 24. If y'all think I should get the UF1, that's the controller that matches this. I want to put them side by side. If you think so, give me a thumbs up. If you say, nah, you don't need it, then who knows? I may not buy it. I may just keep the Control 24. The only thing I don't like about the Control 24 is that it groups. It does it in groups. So if I'm using the controller, it'll go around. It's kind of hard to explain, but people who have these type of controllers know what I'm talking about. It's kind of in the way a little bit when I'm doing my thing. But if I get the SSL UF1, then I can set that as the master. I think I can do it on here too. There's a switch right there. I have to look into that. Let's see. So everything's on. This is how I typically start up everything. Then I go over here. I got a session coming in. I'll grab my U87 right here. Grab my U87. Let's see, take a look at it. I'll grab the U87 or the TLM49 or the Shure SM7, which is just outside the door. And then I'll put it up here. And then down here, I'll choose what mic do I want to use. So if I want to do a shootout with mic chains, I have the API 512. That's over here, and I forgot to tell y'all, I'll turn that on. Okay, I'll turn that on. I gotta plug up my phone real quick. I think my battery about to die. Okay, so this is my vocal chain, the API, the de-esser, into the CL1B. And I only turn this stuff on when I'm mixing down. When I'm recording vocals, I don't turn this on. And I'm just showing y'all, this is what I do when I'm mixing. I'll turn this on doing a mix. I'll turn this stuff on doing a mix. This is kind of dope. Check out how this comes on. Look at that. Sweet. It's going down. All right. So, and then I got to go over there and hit the switch. I'm going to plug the dangerous up into that switch right there. And then all I have to do is hit that. See how the lights went out? And this side right here is on this switch. And I'll be able to put that underneath there and turn that light and and I can also turn the light off right there too. So, but I want to plug that up so I don't have to keep hitting the off and on switch. Okay, so then I have the 610 pre, which is right underneath the Avalon. I can use that mic pre, or I can use the 1073. And since I'm over here, the Avalon 737, which is right there, Avalon 737, or I can use the 1073 going into the LA2A and 1176 vocal chain. Lately, I've been using the API and 1073. The Tube Tech. I like the way that sound going in. I do use a little bit of de-essing going in if a person has a lot of sibilance, but it only catches like a little. It just de-esses just a little bit. I don't want it to affect the overall vocal. I think de-essing kind of makes it sound like it's being compressed a little bit. So I don't like to use too much de-essing. Just a couple of little dB lights of just catching those transits coming through. All right, so with the Avalon 747, one of the things, you put it on mic. Right now it's on line instrument because I'm not using it. I'm not using it as a mic pre right now. I'm using it in the mix. So if I use it in the mix, I'm going in, I can adjust my threshold. Now, I'm going to share this with y'all. And this was a big controversy online for me. I had to school a lot of people that thought they knew, but they didn't know. With the anybody who use battery, inside a battery, there's when you messing with the parameters, there's something there called decay. So what decay does, it chops off the back end of your sample. Attack, if you adjust the attack, it'll cut the front end off of your, like if you have a kick, as you adjust the threshold, it'll cut, the attack, whether it's slow or fast, it'll start cutting off the beginning of the transient. That's how you can shape your sounds when you're sampling. And decay, all decay is release. That's all decay is. It's a release. When you take the decay off, the sample opens back up all the way to the end. With release, it's the same way. If you do a slow release, it's going to taper down the back end of that audio, just like a decay does. So I came up with the acronym called SAFE. Now, a lot of people in the music, but people who are engineers and stuff, some people know what I'm talking about. This is not a rule of thumb or me saying this is how you do it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, for me, the best way for me to remember, because I always used to get confused on how to use the attack and release. I could never remember, am I supposed to be going fast, slow attack? I could never remember. So I came up with slow attack, fast release. And how I did that is safe, S-A, slow attack, fast release. Release ends with an E, fast release. So if you have a fast release, you're really not doing nothing to it. It's not doing anything. As you start turning the knob, then it'll start, tapering down on the audio. All right. And same thing for a fast attack. A fast attack ain't doing nothing. Once you start adjusting that attack, then it'll start tapering down the beginning of that transient. And then the threshold is just how much it's going to do what it's doing based on how fast or slow the attack and release is doing it. So, I try to, if you don't believe me, there's that Universal Audio put out a video that talks about their 671 and, not the 671, but they're Manly, and it talks about that, about how the attack and release work. And it's exactly how I just said it was. Now, at that time when I was having this debate online with a bunch of people from home studio, I didn't have that information. I only was basing it off my experience, and my experience was indeed correct. All right, so that's about it. I just want to show y'all what it looks like when I'm turning on the studio, when I'm about to do a mix down after I recorded the vocals, and a little bit about my vocal chain as I go in. And this is kind of the way the studio looks. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to unplug this cable. So this is kind of how I'm working. I got this desk over here for $14 at Goodwill. Yes, $14. This desk right here. So, like I said, man, you ain't got to spend a lot of money to have a nice recording studio. You don't have to go out here and keep up with the Joneses. You don't have to have what I have to get a sound like I got. I'm just telling you from experience. Plugins work great. You just got to get in there, dig in there, and learn your craft. You got to be mixing stuff. If you're not working with somebody for free to learn and hone in on your skills, you're doing yourself a disservice. Find an artist that you like, that's hungry, that's going to be good in the studio, that's not going to be telling you how to do mixes and stuff, but an artist that all they do is write, and you do the mixes. It's going to make you a better mixer. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the how I turn on my studio little tour. And as I always say, just Platinum, baby. And I'll see you in the music.